A couple, 2 children, and 3 fathers involved. After 22 years of marriage, not only did the marriage break down, but even the 2 sons were not their biological children. This relationship was green and glowing from beginning to end, but even more bloody things were yet to come. The child's biological father turned out to be an old acquaintance who appeared every day. This kind of explosive thing really shocked netizens. This woman is obviously not an ordinary person. She has done so many terrible things and is not satisfied with it. She even did these little tricks behind the scenes. Every detail is subverting everyone's cognition. After 22 years of marriage, what I got was not love but nothing. In 2002, Mr. Jiang from Zibo, Shandong, held a grand wedding with the blessings of relatives and friends and secretly vowed to love her for the rest of his life. He thought this was the beginning of happiness, but unexpectedly, it became the biggest nightmare in his life. The couple loved each other very much after marriage. Although they were not rich, fortunately Mr. Jiang was very motivated. He goes out early and comes back late every day just to give his wife a better life. For him, no matter how hard or tiring it is a kind of happiness as long as he can be with his wife. He is content. In 2004, with a cry, the eldest son was born. In 2014, the youngest son also came into this world. At this time, the family of 3 can be considered happy and are considered a model couple in the eyes of their friends. With more people in the family, the financial needs naturally increase, especially since we have to save money for our 2 sons early on. This kind of pressure would have made most people breathless. But for Mr. Jiang, it was actually a motivation. From then on, Mr. Jiang worked harder, making money as soon as he opened his eyes. Every day, however, fate seemed to have played a big joke on him. Since Mr. Jiang always went out early and came back late, he hardly stayed at home all day. Gradually, his wife no longer cared about him as much as before, and the communication between the couple became less and less. Sometimes they only said a few words a day. The most important thing is that this negligence has caused the relationship between Mr. Jiang and his children to become weaker. Mr. Jiang thought it was his fault. In order to remedy the situation, he began to go home more frequently to accompany his wife and children, but it was too late. His wife's heart had already changed. Since 2022, my wife has rarely come home, often spending the night outside and not even answering the phone. As a result, the gap between the couple became wider and wider, and eventually, they ended up getting divorced. In order to make up for his debt to his wife and children, Mr. Jiang gave them all his property and house, leaving only a car for himself. It can be said that he left home with nothing. In fact, the story is still very touching at this point. Although the 2 have separated, their love for their children has never changed, and they are still very responsible. But this is where the problem lies. Since the divorce, the children's behavior has become increasingly abnormal. It even revealed a truth that no one could have imagined. 2 children, to biological fathers, neither of them is my husband. For Mr. Jiang, divorce is a decision made between adults and has nothing to do with the children. So from then on, he continued to treat his sons well, without reservation as before. But what he never expected was that even a tiger would not eat its own cubs, but his son could. According to Mr. Jiang, his eldest son has become like a different person since he separated from his wife, and has come to him again and again to ask for money. If he fails to achieve his goal, he will curse at me or even beat me up. On September 9, 2024, the eldest son came again, but this time it was different. He didn't come to ask for money. Mr. Jiang thought his child had finally grown up and become sensible enough to understand his parents, but reality poured cold water on him. The eldest son came in aggressively and wanted to take away the house under the name of Mr. Jiang's parents. Although buying a house for his son is a normal thing, the key point is that he had already given a house to his ex-wife when they divorced. This is my mother's retirement home, and we cannot move it no matter what. But the child just wouldn't listen, and even said these words to Mr. Jiang in an emotional state. Looking at his son's personality change, and that face that was completely different from his own, coupled with these provoking words. Mr. Jiang's emotions collapsed instantly, and a thought quietly came to his mind. Is this really my son? On September 25, 2024, Mr. Jiang went to the hospital with this question and did a paternity test. The result was beyond everyone's expectations. The eldest son was not his biological son. Just in case, he also had a test done on his youngest son, and the facts showed that both children had no blood relationship with him. The most important thing is that the child's biological father actually an old acquaintance of his. The eldest son's biological father was the village secretary of his ex-wife's former village. The youngest son's biological father is Mr. Jiang's cousin. In other words, the 22-year marital relationship was fake. The 20 years of raising children were for other people's children. But this is not the end yet. Even more bloody things are yet to come. Mr. Jiang, completely unaware of the situation, thought that his neglect of caring for his family had led to the divorce. To make up for it, he chose to just take a car and leave the house. On the other hand, the ex-wife, knowing that the child was not Mr. Jiang's biological child, used this to gain Mr. Jiang's trust. She was not satisfied with the compensation at all and even embezzled and transferred all the marital property through various channels. Perhaps this marriage was carefully planned by the woman from the very beginning. This relationship also caused great psychological harm to Mr. Jiang. He loved someone so hard and was willing to give everything for the family, but in the end, not only did he end up in divorce, but even the child was not his own. This blow was fatal to him. Coupled with the children's rebellion, he and his parents were heartbroken, so he filed a lawsuit against his ex-wife in court, involving fraudulent child support compensation and redistribution of property. Some netizens joked that it would be better to do a paternity test before having children in the future, so as to avoid regrets and miss out on the hard work put into others. Some people also said that the woman's actions have hurt 3 families and are unforgivable, but more than that, everyone expressed sympathy for Mr. Jiang's situation. It is said that a husband and wife for a day are bound by 100 days of grace, but some people repay kindness with evil. For Mr. Jiang, this pain is difficult to heal. This story reminds us that integrity and morality are the bottom line. In a marriage relationship, once you make a mistake, you will pay a heavy price. I hope Mr. Jiang can get over his inner demons as soon as possible, and I also hope he can get the justice that belongs to him.